The Sports Talk Recruiting Report is sponsored by Seawell's Catering.
That is one sexy voice on that Seawell's commercial. One sexy voice. Wouldn't mind having those what do you call them? Those
the pipes.
Yeah, the pipes. I wouldn't mind having those pipes myself, you know. Either those pipes or Alan Smothers pipes. I'm not sure which I'd rather have.
There you go. That's a tough decision.
Two quality sets of pipes there, boys and girls. Time for recruiting. Brought to you by Seawell's, as you heard. And, of course, the daily luncheon buffet at Seawell's rolls on into a big Thursday.
Yeah, fried pork chops, hot and honey barbecue chicken wings, hamburger steak and onions.
Hot and honey. You said hot and honey?
I said hot and honey.
That sounds like something you'd say to your girlfriend, like, hey, you're hot, honey.
Hot and honey barbecue chicken wings.
Hot, okay.
Yeah.
All right. What else?
Hamburger steak and onions.
Oof. And then Friday, RBF. RBF.
It's an RBF.
All right, I wonder how many hooligans coming in for the soccer match Saturday are planning to go to Seawell's for the daily luncheon buffet.
That's a good point.
Yeah. They don't know what they're missing. If you're looking for parking for the soccer match on Saturday, Seawell's has made their parking area available, their tailgate area that they make available for Gamecock football, making that available for soccer. So you can grab one of those spots or line up your parking for Gamecock football. 803-771-7385. That's 803-771-7385. That's the number to call to get lined up for the best catering service in South Carolina. Online at SeawellsCateringSC.com. So South Carolina today missed on a big piece for their offensive line when offensive tackle Kamari Landers, 6'5", 300 of Copiah Lincoln Junior College in Mississippi, committed to Baylor. He's a native of Detroit who began his career in 2022 at Akron, played one season at the junior college. He'll have 3 years of eligibility remaining. He was available this late in the summer because he just completed his academic work. He accumulated 23 credit hours, and that pushed him over the top from a qualifying standpoint. USC was one of several schools to offer this week once he became eligible: Baylor, Houston, Utah State, and earlier Arkansas. Here's the interesting thing, Chris and Josh, about this kid. Coming out of high school in Detroit a couple of years ago, I mean, he was heavily recruited. Michigan, Michigan State, Tennessee, Kentucky. He had a very impressive-looking offer list. Now, I don't know if he ended up at Akron. I don't know if maybe academic questions, chased those schools away or what have you. But he had some big-time schools, and he was getting big-time recruiting attention, and now he's going to go to Baylor. The 2025 recruiting class for South Carolina did take another hit today, or took a hit today. This is a different class. It took a hit today when linebacker Jaden Breaker, 6'4", 214 of Snellville, Georgia, announced he's now committed to LSU. Breaker made a visit to Baton Rouge last weekend and was offered by the Tigers. And I can hear it now in Baton Rouge in Tiger Stadium, Chris. He needs to wear number 19 so he can be Breaker 19. Huh? Like that.
Only people our age and above would actually get that.
Josh, do you know what I'm talking about when I say Breaker 19? Do you have any idea what I'm talking about?
I've heard it, but I don't know the reference.
Well, back in the day, there was something called CB radio.
CB radio.
Yeah, I got that. That's what truckers use. I think. Yeah, CB truckers radio. Use those. Yeah.
And people who use CB radio, they had handles, and there was also a little code, right? They had different code words, and if you wanted to break into a conversation on the CB radio, you would push your little button, and you'd go Breaker 19, right? Is that right, Chris? Wasn't it Breaker 19? The code for let me in?
But I do know that Breaker 19 was pretty popular.
Yeah.
So that would be my guess.
I think that's what it was. I think that's what you said when you wanted to get in there. So anyway, tell you what, that'd be a great little NIL promotional deal for him. Breaker 19. Anyway, he's going to be at LSU. So I think that's a pretty significant loss for South Carolina in their class. They do have 18 commitments in the class. They do have 3 linebackers, but he had Rutgers, Utah, Kentucky, and NC State as his finalists before he picked South Carolina. And then he goes ahead and commits to LSU after making a visit there over the weekend. So in recruiting, as we've said for 40 years, it's not scientific. There is no science when it comes to recruiting. There is no rhyme or reason. Recruiting just happens. 2026 linebacker Keenan Britt of Oxford, Alabama, was scheduled to visit USC today. We'll follow up and see how that went. He was at Oregon over the weekend. Riverside receiver Mikael Skinner was in to see the Gamecocks on Tuesday. And, of course, recruiting goes dead as of tonight. So
Yay.
The August dead period hits, yeah. So everybody can focus on their seasons. 2026 linebacker Anthony Davis of Loganville, Georgia, was offered by Clemson Tuesday while on a visit, and he will visit Auburn today, or he did visit Auburn today. One-time Clemson target safety Anquan Fagans of Alabaster, Alabama, committed to Auburn earlier in the week. Hammond tight end Mike Tyler told Lou Bajak of the States, "Why does Lou have such a difficult name to spell? You know, that's a hard name. Bezja.
Mm-hmm.
Can you imagine being a kid and having to write your name like over and over again and having to put a Z in there?
Oh, yeah.
That's tough.
And it keeps moving. Sometimes it's in front of the J and sometimes it's after the J.
Really?
No, I'm kidding. It's supposed to be in front of the J.
I misspell it all the time. I have to ask Lou that next time I see. He'll come back and say, "Well, what about corn blues? What kind of name is
my
that?"
guess is you ran into it too when you were growing up.
Oh,
How
yeah.
many people have added an H to the end of your name?
Oh, my name's been abused. It's been abused for decades. Anyway, Mike Tyler, the tight end from Hammond, he told Scoop he's got a final 3 of Duke, LSU, and West Virginia, with Duke and LSU the favorites. Plans a decision in August, possibly on his birthday, August 18th. Tyler was at LSU over the weekend, 3rd visit to Baton Rouge this summer, including an official visit June 21st. Camden cornerback Jordan Krim was offered by Mississippi State. That's his 2nd SEC offer, joining Vanderbilt. We still consider Vanderbilt to be an SEC offer, don't we? Yeah.
Yes.
I think we do. Wide receiver Jackson Rep of Christ Church was offered by Buffalo. Hello, Pete Limbo. Former Dillon 2026 quarterback Josiah Oxendine has transferred to Forest Hills High School in Marshville, North Carolina. There you go. There you go. There you go with the recruiting report for tonight, brought to you by Seawells. Let's get it right. Brought to you by Seawells.